Hello everyone, Johnny Minding here, and today we'll continue to learn Japanese with the Legend of Zelda. Last time we did level 8, got to and started level 9, so today we'll hopefully finish level 9 and so the game. After that, there will be an extra. If you have played The Legend of Zelda or know The Legend of Zelda, you might know what I'm referring to, but not in the. I won't play it, but we'll see the writings there. I'll just say that for the moment. And depending on how much time is left, we might even start the new series. So, without further ado, let's start the game. As usual, I have connected the second Famicom controller in case we need it to defeat some boss voices. And so we can start the game. Since we were in the middle of level 9, more or less in the middle, so slightly more, I have to load our save like this. And yes, we ended here after we got this tip from the old man, giving it some thought. And also not being pressured by being close to the end of the stream. Most likely this tip is referring to the position, the room where the red ring was. But as you can see also by the color of Link's tunic, we already got it. And so we can continue. Okay, let's see. Pretty sure we tried to bomb these walls. Yeah, most likely yes, but let's try it anyway. I definitely tried bombing these. I first thought the tip was referring potentially to that, even though it didn't make much sense. Of course, I rewinded to avoid wasting our bombs in case we need them. Most likely we will need them. So we actually have to go to the left, I'd say, looking at the map, at the rooms we have visited in the inventory screen. Yes, this room, there were paths, if I recall correctly. Okay, here we haven't, don't think we have defeated Patra here. Here is where we came from, pretty sure, but we'll check, just to be sure. Yeah, this brings us here. So, rooms we have already visited. So let's go back here and defeat the Patra this time. And let's see where these stairs bring us. Should be careful since as much as we have the red ring, luckily we're not. It's nice that we got a fairy. Let's check these stairs. And see where they lead us. Okay. Okay, these bring us up here. Of course, there are some ropes. Took a little too many hits, but let's try. Well, can try getting these bombs first and foremost. Let's see, this one was nothing, but we'll try it again. Let's see, down, nope, to the right, nothing. Okay, up. So let's not waste our bombs, just one here. Okay. Get here. Defeat some of these ropes. Boy, they're about to defeat us also thanks to the bubbles. Yeah. Let's go back actually. Okay, we at least got a heart there. Okay. Too many hits. Yeah, this is not the best situation, so let's go back, though we won't have defeated these enemies. Okay, perfect, we got a clock. Okay, so we can defeat these. Let's see if it's, yes, another room like this, with the stairs by pushing that block. And, perfect, we get the other dungeon item, and the one necessary to finish the dungeon and so the game. Let's get rid of the bats first. Which are, let's check as usual in the item list. And there it is. Gin no ya. As we can see to the left, ya means, I'm pretty sure accented, but we'll check. Yes, accented. Arrow. And then we have before it, with in between, of course, the possessive particle to connect the two nouns. Gin, I think accented. Yes, accented, which means silver. And so we get silver arrow, silver arrows. Reminder that while there are some ways to make the plural in Japanese, more often than not, you can just keep the noun as it is, and you have both the singular and the plural. Gin is silver, while kin is, let's see its accent, yes, kin, accented, means gold. And by the way, the one for kin is the same kanji as kane, metal, but more often than not, by extension, becomes money especially when we had the honorific prefix o, okane, as a reminder. I'm pretty sure we have seen it in this very series. Okay, so we can go back to the game. Okay, perfect. And so yes, we have the silver arrows, which we need, as we will see. So, perfect, this is done. So now I'd say we have to go back, then go up from there and try to get to, well, explore the rest of the dungeon, including finding the access to the boss, and then the end, what's marked by the compass in the left eye of the skull. Okay, let's bring our bombs back, I'd say. Yeah, we don't need these anymore. So let's go up. Okay, a room with some lights. Much better than all those rooms with the whiz robes. Okay. Just checking that our shield is still the magic shield. I think magical is the right word. So let's check to the right, even though I have doubts. Yeah, no. At this point, most likely we'll get to the room to the right with some stairs, then go up, and there will be the boss, and then of course up to get to the left eye of the skull. So first, let's see where up takes us. We have to light the room up. We got also some traps. But somehow they didn't trigger when we entered. Okay, let's see. Head out with bombing here does nothing. Bombing here does nothing either. So let's get back. Let's keep the bombs. Let's go up. Oh boy, a room. Huh. Yes, I think that's the one-way door. We take it just to check it, but pretty sure that's the case. Would be nice to get some hearts. Of course, I don't get them, and then I get defeated by the whiz robe. Huh, what did I get there? Not sure. Okay, let's be careful. Perfect. Let's try to bomb, but of course... okay, to the left we can go. To the right, I seriously doubt it. Yeah, of course. So let's keep that open. Let's go up. And yeah, this is the one-way door, so we won't take it. This one also was a one-way door, but luckily we can go to the left here. Okay, let's be careful. with these projectiles. Okay, let's get rid of the first weak one. Also the second one without dying to the projectile. Again. Okay, perfect. Be careful about this one. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's try to bomb there. Nope. First, let's check above. Nope. Okay, so like this. Let's push. Okay, there are some stairs there, but I'd say let's first check what's down below. Okay, there's a room, of course, more wheelthrobes. Okay, this way. Oops. Okay. Actually, these rooms are the best one to get rid of wheelthrobes, thanks. Okay, let's see if we can get perfect the heart. Get some rupees. Pretty sure we can't bomb on either side. Nope. So let's go back here. Let's check what's down. Okay. A simple room, since I think those are souls. Yes. Perfect. So we can even better that we got a fairy. Nice. Okay. Perfect. Let's bomb, but there shouldn't be anything. Nope. Nothing at all. And then, yes, we have visited all the rooms except for that one. Those three. The one, I suppose, I presume it's before the boss, then the boss, and then our prize. So, let's try to take the stairs. And see if they take us there. If not, oh boy, that's quite unfortunate, because we'll have to find the stairs leading to the boss. Okay, not the arrows now. I mean, as I think we got the hint, you have to pay rupees. Maybe that was also one. A place where we got to see the word kane or okane. You have to pay rupees to use arrows. Nope, we get back. Ah, we get... Okay, we were missing these spots, so maybe going to the left then will take us down where we have to go. Let's see. Of course, we shouldn't take as these many hits. Okay, let's restart here. Okay. Okay. Unless somehow... Yeah, nothing there, of course. But here, maybe, hopefully. Yes, perfect. Otherwise, I had no idea how to get here. Okay, other stairs, promising. Okay. Let's defeat these easy enemies, luckily. Of course, I now need my sword back. Perfect. We can take these stairs. The usual paths in these rooms. Okay. Okay, we get here. Practically we get a mini boss again. The usual one of this level. Of this dungeon. So... doesn't matter. Here I have to... Perfect, that it's this kind. As honestly, it's easier than the other one. Perfect. Okay, no, that wasn't ideal, but we got it. And we defeat this, the Patra. Pretty sure that's this enemy's name. They don't, but not completely sure because they don't show that up that often in Zelda games. Nope. Okay, so now we get the silver arrows out because... Nope. Okay. We use the Triforce to light it up and... so Ganon shows up. And we have to hit him with the sword, where... from the positions where he shoots the beam. Or maybe also some other item. Well, in case... Okay. That was the strategy, but... we took way too many hits. Okay, let's go back... well, to the start of the fight. We can go back. So that's one less hit. I don't think the arrows work now. By the way, as you can see, the floor is also a skull. Yeah, no, we have to go back, rewind. Okay, we got a hit. We also got hit, but at least that time we also hit back. Yeah, doing this with so few hearts isn't the best. Don't remember if there's a trick. We can try the magical rod. Nope. Don't think it works. So sword it is. Of course now we have to get back some health back. Yeah, I don't remember where got the first hit, so... Wait, maybe we have I wonder if... don't think that was... No, we simply got lucky, I think, and got... Okay. Okay, let's be careful. Okay, perfect. So we can, when it's like that, we can shoot the silver arrow and defeat Ganon and get the Triforce of Wisdom, I think. Don't remember if the one we have to build. Well, hopefully the end will tell us. Yes, here we have Princess Zelda. We have this fire, which we can destroy with the sword. And we have rescued Zelda and finished the game. Okay, let's take a screenshot in case it... okay, no. Okay, yes, it goes away, so... Okay. Okay, before seeing the stuff, let's see. First and foremost this. Arigato rinku anata wa hairaru no eiyu desu. First and foremost, we have arigato, as we have the short form for thank you. The complete one is arigato gozaimasu. Let's check the accent for the should be on the ri. But let's check. Yes, it's on the ri. And just like Ohayo gozaimasu, it comes from, first and foremost, an adjective. Well, we'll see that it's more complex than that. Arigatai. Yes, accented on the ta. Arigatai, which is a composed form of aru. The verb which we have seen is means to be, in the sense to exist, and also to have in the waga sentence pattern. Literally, as for someone, there is something. And then we add, since it's a u verb, godan verb, we can change the u into i to have the form that lets us add the adjective katai, but in when in that which then becomes gatai because it's a compound. And as we'll see, also usually found as gatai in these forms, which just like the more common nikui, we see that that's the one you usually use, but in this form you have to use gatai. Nikui, when added to a verb in the suspensive form means difficult to do, hard to, and so literally that arigatai means difficult to be, hard to be. Which is by extension used as a form to say thank you as the person. Let's see if I can find a better. Someone that yes, literally means difficult to exist, and so by extension it means to be grateful for something someone did. And then we change it into ku, since it becomes like an adjective, to get the adverbial form, but also a form that's used to connect it to other parts. In this case, gozaimasu from gozaru. Let's check its accent. I'm pretty sure I've said it. I think it's accented when we saw it last time. Yes, gozaru. Which is actually an honorific form of aru. In this case, it's simply used because of the conjugation. And then it's somewhat irregular, just like we have seen some other honorific verbs like kudasaru, which becomes kudasai. We have to change it, so the ru, we drop it, we add the i, or you could say we change the ru into i, because it's actually still the same form we need to add the mass which is used to make the polite form of the verb. And so, yes, that's why that's arigato gozaimasu. Luckily, in this case, you can also find, like in this case, you can find it abbreviated into arigato. Then we have, of course, Link, the name of our protagonist. Anata is you, means you. But as I think I mentioned before, nowadays it's often regarded as rude, or at the very least distant, and so the actual way to say you, quote unquote, to someone is actually calling them by name in Japanese. But you can find it, for example, here in fiction, or when the name of the person isn't known. There are other ways, but the most common one, the traditional one, is anata. Then, of course, we have the topic particle wa, written as ha. And so, thank you, Link. As for you, Hyrule, of course, Hyrule. No, the possessive particle of Hyrule. You, I think it's unaccented, but we'll check, which means hero. Or also heroine, doesn't change. The same word can be used for both. And let's see the accent. Yes, unaccented. And then we have the copula, des. The polite one, we have more often than not seen throughout this game the plain one, da. The polite one, same register as mas, is des. Reminder that E and E at the end of the sentence of the, when preceded by an unvoiced consonant are barely heard, if at all, and so more often than not you will hear, sometimes you will hear it as desu, desu, masu, but more often than not it's mas, des. And so yes, the translation is thank you, Link. As for you, you, of course, implied because it's also the theme of the sentence, are the hero of Hyrule. Let's see the rest of these sentences here. Koste Hyrule ni heiwa ga modotta. Maybe modotta could, I think it's unaccented, but we'll check, of course. First and foremost, koste. We have a ko, this way, in this way, accented, should, nope, unaccented, sorry, because of course it's still, as you can tell by the translation, and also the ko as the first syllable, it's still part of the demonstratives, koso ado. So we can change the first part with koso ado to have the different distances and the interrogative. Ko in this way, so in that way. There's then the exception, which is a. In that way also, but of course there's the matter of the different distances. These close close to the speaker, so far from the speaker but close to the listener, and a far from both. And last but not least, the interrogative do, how, in what way, more literally. Then we have add ste from suru, to do. It's an irregular verb, so we have to pass from si. We have to drop the ru, change the su into si, to add the te, to have the te form. literally doing it in this way. A better translation would be so, thus, and so. Because it becomes like that. Doing. Why did I use the form doing? Because the form can be used like that. Both. Well, it can also be used to connect it to, in the sense of and, to add then the rest of the sentence between verbs, doing this and doing another thing, but also by in English it's less clear, but in other languages like Italian, Spanish, I'm pretty sure, and so on, that have the gerund, it has those meanings. And so by doing it this way, literally, and so a better translation in the end would be so and so, thus. Hierarchy again. Ni, tu, in this case, and so tu Hyrule. Hewa, I think it's unaccented, but we'll check. Let's see, sorry. Hewa means peace, harmony. Yes, unaccented. Then we have the subject particle ga. And so peace, the verb, which we'll see in a second, to Hyrule. Of course, the verb, as you might have guessed, modotta, we'll check the accent now, means to return from, actually accented, so I was right at first, modoru, which means also to turn back, to return, and of course other extended meanings. In this case, it's a u verb, go down verb, and so unfortunately, to make the te form, and so also the ta form, which is the one for the past, which we have here, there are some more complicated rules. For verbs ending in ru, just like those ending in u and tsu, we have to add te with the double consonant ta, as you can see here, and so modotta. The translation so becomes and in this way, and thus, and so, peace returned to Hyrule. Then we have korede kono monogatari wa owari desu. First and foremost, we have kore. this, as in the pronoun. Again, as we have I've just mentioned for ko, we can change the first part with ko, so, ado to get the different distances, and the interrogative form, so kore, this, sore, that, far from the speaker, close to the listener, are, far from both, dore, because as a reminder, the ko, so, a are unaccented, while the interrogative form is accented on the first. Dore means which between more than two options. Then we add the particle de, with, or also could also be the te form of the verb da, of the copula, des. With this, could also be this being the case, being literally being this. We can, in this case, I'd say go simply with in the meaning de as with this. Kono. Funny enough, we get another word of the koso ado group. In this case, the adjective. And so there's a following noun, unlike kore, which is the pronoun, and so replaces a noun. Kono, sono, ano, dono. So this, and then we have the noun modified by kono, this, monogatari. Let's check again the accent, but I've talked about this during the yesterday's reaction to the direct. Monogatari is a compound word accented on ga, so monogatari, is actually a compound word because it literally is from mono. Should be accented on the last one, I think. Yes, accented on the last one, which means thing, as in an object, because again, for thing as in a matter, there's a different word, which is koto, also accented on the last one, yes. And then we have katari, unaccented, changed into ga because it's a compound. Katari from kataru should be also unaccented, like katari. Yes, kataru. Which means to narrate. So, narrated thing, literally, narrated things, and so, story, monogatari means story, tale, and so on. As I mentioned last time, there's a whole genre in Japanese literature, classical literature of monogatari, with the most famous one most certainly being the Genji Monogatari, the tale of Genji. And so we have with this tale, this story. We could also say this legend, but there's actually a word for legend, which is in the title of this very game. Densetsu unaccented should be. Let's check it since we have seen it in the very first lesson of, in the very first episode of this series. Yes, unaccented is the Densetsu. And so this tale, then we had the topic particle wa. And so with this, as for this tale, Owari should also be unaccented, I think. And I think we have seen it in the options of this game, maybe. Or at least we have seen the verb from which it comes from. Owari, unaccented, yes, I remembered correctly, comes from the verb owaru. It should also be unaccented, which means to end. And so by changing it's a godan verb, godan verb, by changing the u to I, we get the suspensive form, which we have seen can be used as on its own. I think we have seen it somewhere else as a way to connect, another way to say and, less common than the third form, but it also exists more often in more formal contexts. Can be used for some conjugation, especially, most notably, the polite form with mas, and of course also the conjugated forms of mas like mashita, the past form. And the other use we see here, both in monogatari and in owari, is to make the corresponding noun of that verb. And so from the verb owaru, to end, owari means end, as in the noun. And then we add the copula des. So the translation becomes, with this, as for this tale, it's the end. And so yes, this is the end of this game. Let's go back to the game and see the stuff. Check the producer Hiroshi Yamauchi, producer Mia Hon. Let's go back a second. Mia Hon, actually from is Shigeru, as you can see also from the S, Shigeru Miyamoto. But okay, let's take a screenshot of the stuff while we are at it. Oops, sorry. And then go back to that and take a screenshot of that, because that we'll have to, to analyze. Well, this is just for fun and explaining a certain something. Okay, like that. More or less should be good. Okay, we get this. Okay. Yeah, why it's S the dot Mia Hon instead of S dot from Shigeru Miyamoto. First and foremost, I think that it's something that used to be done in the during at the time that they changed the names of the staff, maybe to avoid other companies hiring them, contacting them to hire them instead, or something like that. But I wanted to point out why we got Mia Hon, because as we have seen when we studied the kanji for moto, I think unaccented, I'll check while we're at it. Moto means origin. Nope. Actually, moto, accented on the first one, sorry. Which means origin, source, and so on, basis. But it can also, that's the strictly Japanese reading, the kunyomi. Also notice that yomi comes from the verb yomu. Yomi accented on the last one, because usually there are some exceptions. If the verb is unaccented, the noun also becomes stays unaccented, while if the verb is accented, the noun is accented, but on the last one. The exceptions might be because, of course, if we don't add anything, they sound the same, and so that might be because the cause of the confusion, and so the exceptions. But the rule should be unaccented verb, unaccented noun, accented verb, accented noun on the last syllable. And yes, so kunyomi, yomi comes from the verb yomu, to read, and so we get yomi, reading. But yes, as I was saying, moto is the kunyomi. Let's check the accent of kunyomi now that while we are at it, and also the opposite. Okay, since it's compound, it might change, and yes, it changes. It becomes unaccented, kunyomi. And also the other one, which we'll see in a second, is also unaccented. While the onyomi, also unaccented, onyomi, the reading from Chinese is hon, which means first and foremost book, but also as a prefix this, present, current, and also main, and so on, other meanings. It's also used as a counter, but we'll see them those when the time comes. And so yes, because since the same kanji is read as a reminder, kanji is also unaccented. Since the same kanji is the kanji for moto has the reading hon. That's why they changed it Miyamoto into Miyahon here. Then we have 1010, which I'm pretty sure is just 10 on its own. Could be dot. And so, in this case, it would be dot, dots, plural, as in, etc., and so on. Most likely that's why it says 1010 there. And also for the designer. Unless there, no, wait, maybe it's actually from, could be also the simply the name, a changed name, maybe for Tezuka. Let's see, I'll check it just to be sure. Let's see. Okay. Yep. Since he worked on that, I'm pretty sure that should be. Can't find the confirmation. Yes, of course. Yes, I found it in its Wikipedia page. Also known as 1010. Tezuka, and then they simply added the only consonant on its own, and double it. 1010 is Tezuka Takashi. While here we can see the names in the Western order, name, surname. In Japanese, they're usually the other way around: first surname and then given name. And so Tezuka Takashi should be here. It would be, if it were extended, T with the dot, Takashi. So yes, 1010, Tezuka-san, designer also. Not sure about the programmers, to be honest, unfortunately, and it's unfortunately fortunate that that's the case. Clearly they aren't Nakazu, or maybe more likely also Nakazo, Ya-chan, with the chan clearly the usual suffix for names, for kids, girls. Maru. Maru could be either another nickname, or in this case, Maru, written more often than not as straight up two circles, is the symbol used as a placeholder. And so it could be a placeholder, or simply because it doesn't list more of them. And of course, last but not least, the song composer, Kon-chan. Koji Kondo. Quite easy to figure out. Kon of Kondo. And then, of course, with the chan. As I said, chan more often than not used for girls and kids. But in general is a suffix for a familiar person. And yes, that's definitely Kondo-san. Speaking of, while it's more often than not written as Kondo with a short O, it's actually long in Japanese. Kondo. Koji also long. And yes, with that we've seen the stuff. Then we can see the final writings. Ima kara mou hitotsu no tabi ga hajimarimasu. Ima should be accented on the first one, but of course, as usual, we'll check. Means now. Let's see. Yes, accented on the first one. There's another ima accented on the ma, which means a living room. And that's again why learning the accent can actually be useful. Although, luckily enough, even if you don't know the correct accent, you can still be Japanese will still understand you. You can still speak Japanese, but of course, knowing it can help you understand better and also sound more like an actual Japanese speaker. And so yes, we have ima, so now, kara, a particle we haven't seen yet, I think, which means from, both for time and for place, and also quantity. We see that it also has another use, but as a particle and so used with nouns, it has the meaning from. Should be unaccented, despite... Nope, actually accented on the first one, kara. But I think that when it's the word is accented, then the particle loses its accent. So in this case, it should be imakara. So from now, mo accented should be. And of course, if it is on the first one, because it can be on the U, since it's actually a long O, O-U, long O, like E-I, long E. Some still pronounce it as A, but as a diphthong. And more often than not, you will hear it as E. Mo means already, yet. And also other meanings depending on what you combine it with. but the fundamental one is already yet. In this case, it's combined with hitotsu. Hitotsu means one. But not just on its own, it's actually our first combination of number plus counter. Because to count things in Japanese, and because it comes this from Chinese, you have to add a counter to the number. Think of it like if in English and other languages we always said a bottle of other examples, a cup of, and so on. Of course, in English and other languages like Italian, Spanish, you use them only with certain words. In Japanese, you always have to use to count these counters, unless you are literally counting, for example, counting down, and so you can use the number on its own, but to count things, you have to add the counter. There are different kinds of counters depending on the word, and so, for example, we have one for cups, as I mentioned, similar to English, for bottles, and so on. But in this case, luckily enough, we have a generic counter, which is a general purpose counter, which is tsu, which is requires before it strictly Japanese numerals. And that's why we have hito before the tsu, instead of the number one we have seen before, ichi, seen also in ichiban, literally number one, because ban, of course, is also technically a counter. But yes, the tsu is a general purpose counter. And so we have, in this case, it would be one thing, one general thing. The accent in this case is, unfortunately, while more often, usually the accent goes on the syllable before the counter. And in this case, it's the same, but unfortunately, there are a lot of exceptions. We'll have to see them when we see them. We'll have to check. I'll even take out my dictionaries if needed. But yeah, in this case, it becomes hitotsu, accented on the to, hitotsu. And then we add the possessive particle. Sorry. First, let's go back to the combination mo hitotsu, which means one more thing, one more, another, literally, yet yet one would be yet one thing. So yes, one more. Then we have added the possessive particle no to modify the following word, which is tabi. In this case, because there is another tabi, but which is also a counter, funnily enough, a counter for time, as in one time, 3 times, because of course in English we then have once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and so on. So counter 4 times, accented on the last syllable, tabi. But this word should be, okay, also accented on the last one, and is the word for travel, trip, journey. So in this case, we'll use journey, of course. So we have from now one more journey. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then the verb hajimarimasu. By the way, a convenient aspect of the polite form of verbs is that you don't have to mind the accent of the verb, because then it always falls on the after the ma, or after, of course, after the conjugated forms of mas. But anyway, let's see. Hajimaru, I think, is unaccented. Let's see. Which means to begin, as in the intransitive verb. So something begins, starts. Let's see the accent. Yes, unaccented. Hajimaru. And in this case, the journey starts, begins. But of course, as we've mentioned, could also be, and in this case, I'd say that's the case. The present can also be used for the future. And so the translation becomes, from now, one more journey begins, will begin. And then the other sentence, stato botan. You might have guessed it because it's from English, despite the different pronunciation. Stato, from start. Let's check the accent just to be sure. Yes, this one is on the ta, because of course start, stato. And then we have botan. Unaccented, actually. So botan. And it's technically not from English, and that's why it's more different than the simpler change for start, because of course they don't have the R. And so it simply becomes a long vowel, similar to British English received pronunciation, stato. While this is botan, because it's actually from Portuguese botão. And so yes, it became botan in Japanese. And so of course the start button. Then we have the object particle o, also pronounced as wo in more careful speech, and also in singing. Then we have the verb oshite kudasai. First and foremost, the verb oshite should be unaccented, but I could be wrong, so we'll check. From osu, to press, to push also, but in this case, to push as in to shove, but also to push, to press down, to push a button. So that's our case, of course. Let's see. The accent is okay, unaccented. Osu, osu. Since it's a U-verb, Godan verb, to get the te form, luckily it's easier than other Godan verbs, we simply change the su into si, and then add, of course, te, oste, of course, because of the usual rule, I-U between unvoiced consonant becomes barely heard, if at all, oste. So, oste, oste. And we changed it into the te form because that's what's required to add kudasai. Kudasai, as we've seen, and I also mentioned before, incidentally, from kudasaru. Let's check its accent. Yes, kudasaru, accented. To give, to confer, to bestow. It's an honorific form. Then we change it into, we drop the ru and add I, because again, it's an irregularity of these verbs, just like gozaimasu. That's why I mentioned it before. And by adding kudasai, we get the polite imperative form. And so, please, because why that's the case? Because as we've seen, the verbs of giving, when combined with the te form, means do the favor of doing that action. So literally would be, please do us the favor of pushing. So, in translation, please push. Push, please push the start button. That's the translation of this sentence. Then we have the triforce, the comma, the year of the copyright, Nintendo, of course. Okay, so we can go back to the game and do as told, and press the start button. We get sent back to the select screen, file select screen. As a reminder, above it says selecto shite kudasai. Please, literally, please do us the favor of doing the select. So please select the save file in this case. Shite is the think I mentioned it before. Yes, because we have seen it in Koste is the form of suru, to do. Suru is added to nouns such as serecto from English, and also Chinese compounds, as we'll see, to have the verb form from that noun. So select, as in the noun, serecto, suru, to select. And yes, we are back on this screen. As you might have noticed, now Link is holding the sword up. I'll first, by the way, I'll also save here just so that it's I have it also here. We don't risk of making mistakes. We'll just see it a second. What happens if we open this? The game starts. It's the start of the game, but actually, well, we'll just the usual. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this in Japanese. As for being alone, as for being one person, literally, it's dangerous. I will give you, let's give you, more likely will give you, as in the sense that's the what the old man wants to do, is willing to do better, because as we'll see, there's a want to is has a different form in Japanese. I will grant you this, so the sword. I just go somewhere else to show you that. Not sure if this is the right place. Yeah, as you might, I don't think this seriously doubt it, because I wish I had the blue candle here in the other game, because yes, we have finished the first quest, and this is called the second quest, and there are different places, different shops, different secrets, and also different places where you can find the dungeons. Let's just check where level 1 usually is. Just to show you further. Here we are. Let's enter what usually is the first dungeon. And it still is the first dungeon, but if we went around it, not sure if there were, we would find out that it's a different shape, because yes, also the shapes of the dungeons change, and we have different dungeons. So yes, this is second quest, but we are not playing it. Just wanted to show you at least slightly show you something of it. We won't play it, but this is the extra I was mentioning. Let's go back to, well, can close the game. So let's go back here, close it, and I'll bring up this. By the way, I recommend you to check this site, Legends of Localization, as they covered all the translations of The Legend of Zelda. Then also have several pretty interesting articles. But yes, simply we'll check here the few writings, because there aren't many, that aren't in the first game, in the first quest, that are exclusive to the second quest. Here it shows the different icon for the save file. You can also access the second quest early by naming your character Zelda. Well, we can test that just to see it. I'm pretty sure that it would be Zelda in the Japanese version. Let's see. Namae Toroku, name registration. Let's see. So with the duck 10. Ru. And then Ta. And then of course the duck 10. Here we can see also Toroku Owaru, registration end, the registration ends, and yeah, nope. Actually, it doesn't work, seemingly, or maybe it does, but it doesn't change the icon. Let's see, by opening it, and checking the shop at this point. Oops, sorry, I wasn't showing the game, but simply mentioned. Well, considering that, let's go back actually to this. So I was saying Namae Toroku, name registration. Let's input Zeruda in Japanese. Seemingly it didn't work, as it didn't change the icon, but that might just be a difference, a visual difference, since it's... Let's see if it actually is the second quest, or it's a different name in Japanese. Of course, this doesn't change. And then we'll go back to the Legend of Localization. Yes, and of course, as I said, while unfortunately I wasn't showing the screen, to end the name registration, we had Toroku Owaru, and so the registration ends. Let's see. Okay, we get the same items here. Maybe I was wrong and that was the same. We'll see when we enter the dungeon. Let's see. I didn't expect to do this, honestly, but it's worth checking it out, just to see if the trick works also in the Famicom Disk version, the Japanese version. Of course, we are getting into level 1 again. Okay, no. It doesn't work like that. As you can see now, this is level 1 in the first quest. And so now you see the difference with the second quest in the dungeon shape and rooms. From when I showed the second quest before. I wonder then if maybe I have to input maybe it's Zelda in our alphabet. Wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. Let's see. Yep. So even in the Japanese version you have to input Zelda as with our characters, our alphabet. And so yes, that show the icon changes, and that's the way to start the second quest without finishing the first quest first. Okay, so let's do kill mode just to be sure. Well, I can keep that. And so let's actually close the game now and go back to Legend of Localizations to see the remaining the additional writings. Unfortunately, I can't make them bigger, so I'll simply read them myself. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This old man in level 4, and that's why we aren't playing second quest, getting to level 4 just to see this dialogue isn't worth it. Sorry. But yes, this old man says Yajirushi no Saki no Michie Yukeba, and then suspensive dots. First and foremost, ya, again accented and means arrow. As for the title of this paragraph, on Legends of Localization. Then we had Jirushi from Shirushi. Of course, it changes into Ji because it's a compound word. Let's check the accent. But Shirushi means symbol, and so the arrow symbol would be yes. Let's see. Okay. The compound, of course, yes, as we have seen, ya accented. Shirushi on its own is unaccented. Mark, sign, symbol, emblem, and so on. And the compound Yajirushi is accented on the G, so Yajirushi. Okay, so then we add the possessive particle no to add it to make it precede following noun. Sorry, drank some water. Also considering that this time we didn't take the usual break. to modify the following noun, which is in this case saki, should be unaccented, but we'll check, which means we have seen, I think we've seen it before. Funny enough, it's one of its meaning also. Saki, unaccented, yes. Point, tip, also front, as in a head, for example, of a line, but also as first, as in before, ahead of, and then other meanings, but like the way ahead. So in general, all the meanings are, the basic meaning is front. The point, the tip is the front part, front. Then we have before, front as in coming before, in front before something, ahead, beyond, also from front, and also in with the meaning future, but let's not go. We'll see it again with its various meaning when the time comes. In this case, I'd say the best meaning, the correct meaning is beyond, ahead of, the arrow symbol. Then we have another possessive particle no to modify the following noun, which is michi. We've seen it before, I think, in this very series. Michi should be unaccented, but we'll check, means way. Also road and other similar meanings, but fundamental one is, yes, road, path, street, lane, passage, but also route, way. Let's see the accent. Michi, unaccented, yes. E, written as he, towards. So, towards the road, ahead of the arrow symbol. And last but not least, we have the verb yukeba. From the verb yuku, more often found as iku, but yuku is an alternative way, should be unaccented, and it means to go. We have seen it before, for sure. Iku, yuku, unaccented. We change it into, it's a U verb, Godan verb, and so we can change it into E, the U into E, to get yuke, in this case, ike, which, by the way, would be on its own, would be the imperative form, but is also used to add ba. Ba is used to give the meaning if, when. So the conditional one of the several, because there are more than one. we have also already seen Nara, I think. But this one with ba, if you go. And so the full translation is if you go, just like in the English localization, if you go towards the way, the route, ahead of the arrow symbol. In the English localization, if you go in the direction of the arrow. Then we have, okay, we have seen this one. Let's check this other one. Ah, yes, this section called the Dastardly Old Man, because it's a trap. It's a trap. In Japanese, the old man says, Okane ka inochi o oite yuke. Okane, as we have already mentioned in this very lesson, means money. Also kane on its own. But let's check also the accent just to be sure. But okane, unaccented, kane, also unaccented, money, from kane also means metal, is the original meaning, then becomes money, with the prefix always money, okane. Then we have ka, which is a particle, which means is used only with nouns. It's a particle, not to have the meaning or, money or, and then we have another noun, inochi. Should be accented on the first one. We have seen it in the item screen. We'll check it in a second. Well, let's check it immediately. The accent. Inochi means life. Life force and other extended meanings. Inochi, yes, accented on the first one. So, money or life. Then we have the object particle o, wo. And then we have the verb oite, yuke. Oite comes from oku. I think unaccented, but I could be wrong. Of course, we'll check it. Which means to put, to position, to place, better. To put, to place. Yes, unaccented, oku. To make the te form, since it ends, it's a u verb, godan verb, there are differences depending on its ending. The ones in ku become I and then te. Originally it was o ki te, but it became I, oite. Similarly, those in gu become o I, de. So simply the duck 10 shifts to the te. And we put the verb, we put, funny enough, considering the meaning of the verb, put it into the te form to then add UK. UK, as I've just mentioned, comes from yuku, iku, to go. It's a U verb codant verb, so we change the U into E to get the imperative form. So, the plain imperative form. As we have seen, the polite one is te form plus kudasai. And so, this old man says, put and go, or go while putting. Both could be, because as we'll see, the combination te iku means going while doing something, do something and go, but it could simply be also in another, if it weren't a verb, iku could simply be do the action of the first verb and then the one of the second one. So in this case, put money, place, translated in the English localization as leave, makes sense. It's even clearer. Your implied in Japanese, there's no need to, since he is talking to you. Money or life, and go. So yes, it's a trap, as I said. We have seen this one. I think no, I think we missed it in. No, this one is also exclusive to this to the second quest. In the Japanese version, as this section is called giving directions, and actually there's quite a difference. Then, of course, the article explains why there is this difference, or at least theorizes about it. Let's focus on the Japanese version. Mizumi no kita ni wa himitsu ga aru. First and foremost, we have Mizumi. Let's check the accent. Means lake. Weirdly enough, it's accented Mizu-umi on the umi. As we'll see, it's technically, or at least looks like, a compound of umi, accented on the first one, which means sea, ocean, but also technically waters, with mizu should be unaccented, yes, unaccented, which means water. So sea water and then becomes lake. Honestly, I haven't checked why that's why lake is called that way in Japanese. We can maybe check it here on Wiktionary. Now we have to open the kanji and see if it explains it. Simply, yes, a compound of mizu and umi. So literally, sea, water, but it's the word for for lake. maybe it being weird can this way can help you remember it, but yes, this is the word for lake, Mizumi. Then we add the possessive particle to modify the following word, the following noun. Possessive particle no, Mizumi no. Noun which is kita should be unaccented like all the other directions. I'm pretty sure we have seen them when we've seen the Lost Woods, the indication of the Lost Woods, and also level 5 in this case, because kita, reminder of the usual rule, I, between unvoiced consonant, barely heard if at all, so kita, unaccented, that means north. Then we have ni wa, a compound particle from ni. In this case, because of the following verb at, as when used with verbs of existence, in our case aru, as we'll see, combined with the topic particle wa. And so the translation becomes, as for the north of the lake, as for the north of the lake, as for at the north of the lake, then we have Himitsu should be unaccented, and I think I mentioned it when contrasting it with Naisho. We also check the accent of that. Himitsu, unaccented, is the more common word for secret, as we can see in this case, while Naisho is more often than not used, not Baisho, Naisho is more often than not used in the it's a secret to everybody, translated in English. Keep it a secret to everybody. Should be also... No, accented on the last one. Good thing we checked. And so, secret. Of course, then we add the subject particle ga. And then our verb aru. Aru, which is the verb to be, as in the sense of to exist. Technically also to live, but there's an actual verb for to live, which is sumu. Let's check the accent. Just aru is accented, yes, as I remember. Sumu, I think, also is accented. Yes, also accented. To live, as in to reside. And then we have another verb which means to be, to exist, in the sense to exist, which is iru. This one unaccented. Also oru, but that's a special form. Let's ignore it for now. The most common one is iru, unaccented. The difference between aru and iru is that aru is used with objects, with not animated things, while iru with animated ones. And so for person, for people, for animals, we use iru. For everything else, aru. And so yes, in this case, since it was secret, we use aru. And so the translation becomes, at the north of the lake, as for at the north of the lake, there is a secret. More literally would be, a secret exists. Okay. Then we have this line, which is actually also in the first quest, but I think we missed it, so we'll check it here. The second part is identical to the previous sentence, so I won't repeat it apart from the translation, of course. Yukidomari no ki ni wa himitsu ga aru. As for at something which we'll see in a second, a secret exists, literally. There is a secret. Where is this place? It's Yukidomari. We'll check the accent, but it's a compound noun from a verb. Yuki, you might have recognized it since we have seen it again and again at this point, is from iku, yuku. And then we have domari from tomari. Let's see some accent. Okay, iki, yuki is unaccented. Never mind the meanings, because usually it's not used. Would be literally the going, but of course it's used in other senses. For example, the way there, etc. Then we have tomari, also unaccented, from tomaru, should be also unaccented. Let's see if that's the case or not. Which means to stop, the intransitive form, so someone, something stops moving, comes to a stop, or stops to stop doing, and so on. Yes, unaccented, tomaru. So the compound yukidomari should be from the verb yukidomaru. Unfortunately, we don't have the accent, but based on the accent of the compound, as in the noun, it seems unaccented also the verb. The verb means literally to go and stop, and so to come to a dead end, to reach an impasse, to get bogged down, to come to a dead end. And so, by changing its u verb, godan verb, by changing the u into i, we get the noun. And so, ikidomari, or also yukidomari, means dead end, or also end of the road. And so yes, we have the dead end, no, the possessive particle, to modify the following noun, which is ki, should be accented. I think we have seen it. Yes, we have seen it when we've checked hon, means 3. And should be accented. Yes, accented. 3, shrub, bush. Also wood, timber, but in this case simply 3. Also the famous shrub bushes of because we are not sure if they're trees or not, the ones in Zelda 1. So the translation becomes, as for at the tree of the dead end, literally, as for at the dead end tree, as per the title of this paragraph, of this section, there is a secret. A secret exists, literally. And last but not least, the second quest ending. Funnily enough, as you can see here, most of it is in English, also in the Japanese version. The only part in Japanese is Zelda no Densetsu 1 Owari. We don't know for sure if the one is pronounced as Ichi, but that's most likely how it would be pronounced, because there's nothing following and so on. There's not a counter, there's not anything, and so it should be Ichi. And so it is Zelda no Densetsu, The Legend of Zelda, Ichi 1, so The Legend of Zelda 1, Owari, the end. And so yes, with that, we have seen also the writings in the second quest. Let's go back here. We have finished level 9, and so the game, or I should say the first quest. We've taken a glimpse of the second one, of the second quest, by playing it. Of course, we are not playing it fully, because there are, as we have seen, there barely are any additional writings, and we have checked them on the Legend of Localization site. And with that, it's the end of this series. Next time, we'll start a new one. Okay. Was wondering if I should tell you which one it is. Yes, let's tell you, so that you can look forward to it. We'll start it on Monday, should be, as usual. Next time, we'll play Kirby's Adventure. Okay. See you next time.